a life of entrepreneurial freedom with insights from successful creatives, entrepreneurs, and investors. Discover how they overcame challenges and turned their biggest dreams into reality. They share their personal success playbook so you can build the business and life you truly want. Welcome to Passion Millionaire, the podcast by Robert Roth. Rock and roll your dreams.
Welcome to another episode of the Passion Millionaire podcast, one that I'm super excited about because today our guest is a business partner of mine, one that I work with on a daily basis even, and also we're involved together in some projects that we have founded, either from zero together with other partners and brought to financial success, or we have onboarded in already successful projects and brought them to more success. And we've traveled together. He has traveled a lot of countries. He has a lot of experience in the marketing world. There's a lot of learnings for anybody that is listening, that loves the freedom lifestyle, that loves to better his career as a freelancer or as an entrepreneur. I'm super excited. Jan Watermann, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Robert. Thanks for having me here. I'm super excited to be here, and I would say let's jump right in. Yeah,
absolutely. We already jumped. So, my first question to you, Jan, I'd be super curious to hear personally as well. Like, if you would reintroduce yourself, how would that sound like? And maybe you could also then go into a little bit of the story of how you transformed your life, I would say, almost during the past 10 years.
Yeah. So basically today I'm working as a digital marketing expert, one could say, typically on a freelance basis and typically as a consultant. So I go into businesses and try to improve from my outside point of view. And that has not always been the case. Basically, it all started out about 10 years ago. I was still in school, just finishing up middle school, and I decided that this typical career path, that just wasn't for me, right? So I had, I saw other students and friends even go into apprenticeships, or continue their studies, right? Go obviously into high school and do this traditional thing, right? And then to university and so on, just to end up in a typical job. And I decided very early that wasn't for me. Just didn't get me excited at all, to be honest. And so basically, what I decided then was that I'm not gonna go through the standard path, but instead I'll do something else. Wasn't really sure what, but I definitely knew it needed to be somewhere else, right? I wanted to see the world. I wanted to experience something. Back then I have been abroad, I think once or twice before, but only in nearby countries. With one exception, the United States. I've been to the United States before.
Yeah, you're from Germany originally, right?
Yeah, from Germany.
Yep.
I haven't really traveled that much. And basically I decided to buy a one-way ticket to New Zealand, because that was the furthest I could go on a plane, right? I literally looked onto a map, and there's this one app where you can basically see what's the exact opposite of your location on the other side of the world. And it was very close to New Zealand. I did that, and it's literally on the other side of the world. There's a 12-hour time difference. Won't get crazier than that. And so I packed my bags, decided I'm going to go there, arrived basically with 2,000 euros in savings. So really didn't have much going on, didn't have many skills either, but I obviously had to survive somehow. And what I did was I looked for very cheap accommodation. I looked for very cheap transport just to get the basics sorted. And then I went into offices, right? All kinds of offices. I tried to do everything. Went physically in, tried to get a job, whatever was available. And I was not selective at all. So I actually ended up working as a furniture mover for some time, because I was always quite bulky, and back then even more. So I was able to move furniture really well. And that's basically why they hired me. And ended up working on a nursery where they grow palms. So I literally spent a few months of my life, trimming palms that were then sold and exported out of New Zealand.
Yep.
And I did that until I reached a point where I realized that's maybe also not the way I wanted to go to, because it's kind of not scalable, right? Didn't want to end up working very basic jobs for the rest of my lives. So I had to develop some skills, right? Some skills that I could then monetize and ideally even do it online. And there was a turning point in my life, to be honest. Like, looking back now, that was one of the key moments. And so ask myself, what could I do, right? What I'm able to do in order to keep myself afloat, in order to reach my personal goals, which are very freedom oriented, right? Like I definitely want to be as free as possible when it comes to location, but also when it comes to decision making. So I don't want to be limited at all. I want to take a day off if I need to take a day off. I want to travel somewhere when I want to travel somewhere. I want to be able to afford that trip. When I want to purchase something, maybe even something luxurious, I want to be able to purchase it. So for me, that's a matter of freedom, and freedom is definitely key. One of the key things in my life. So there weren't that many options. I wasn't really good in design, right? I had no understanding of design. In art lessons in school, I was always like one of the worst students even. So design, definitely out of the question. Programming, that was the other option. I looked into, seemed interesting at first, but to be honest, I'm really bad at math. So that's not ideal either, right? Kind of, I run out of ideas really quickly until there was like literally one thing left, and that was copywriting. I thought, okay, I know German really well. Actually had really good grades in German lessons in school. And I think I could always, I was always able to articulate myself quite well. So I looked into copywriting and also the psychological aspects behind it. Read a few books and essentially self-taught myself. And then I officially called myself a copywriter, even though I haven't had a single project yet in that stage. And first clients I acquired through cold outreach. So what I did is basically picked up my phone, and back then I was still in New Zealand, so I tried to call German companies, and it was literally the middle of the night, right?
Yep.
And that sucked. And I also had limited access to electricity, so I was on a camping ground actually, camping with a few friends of mine, and I was on the phone trying to acquire clients for my new business. I didn't even have a laptop, but that was a problem I would solve once I acquired a client. So I was literally there with my phone, and obviously, if a client would, or if a company would have said, "Hey, sounds great, let's get started," I would have had to first buy a laptop. So that was the situation I was in, but it worked. I got a few clients, very basic ones at first. But we started working together, and that literally lifted me to a whole different level because, for the first time in my life, I was able to earn money without having any, without being, basically being location independent. So it really didn't matter whether I was in New Zealand, whether I was in Germany, whether I was in Spain, Latin America, anywhere actually. I was able to complete my work online and therefore make a living out of it. And that was obviously really great. And that kind of fascinated me. And that led me to specialize and learn more about digital marketing, go way beyond copywriting, look into sales funnels, but also web design, many other things, landing pages. So I quickly became a digital marketing expert and really tried to expand my services as well. So it went far beyond copywriting. I started consulting in the fields of the digital marketing, looking at different channels, trying to evaluate them, and trying to maximize the value I can provide to my clients. And that went well as well until COVID started. The pandemic hit. I was back then in Mexico, actually. Took a really hard hit business-wise. So back then, I think I was at around, I wasn't rich, but I made enough to sustain myself. I think it was around 3,000 to 4,000 euros every month. That was fine. That was fine for me. It was okay. But all of a sudden, pandemic hit. It stopped, right? Everyone had to cancel. Everyone had to do something else. For some reason, people were really, risk sensitive as well. So they tried to minimize risks. And I, as an external consultant, I was obviously a big risk for their business. So they cut me out first. And then, I tried to turn that around somehow. Try to do cold outreach, but noticed really quickly when no one is working in the office, right? Because of a pandemic, it's hard to reach people, like even harder than it normally is. You just can't reach anyone on the phone,
All right.
because people were working remotely, etc. So I looked into LinkedIn, and that's a topic we could actually dive into a little bit deeper later, if you'd like to. Long story short, I acquired 2 really big clients on LinkedIn that I literally built my whole business around. Those clients, they were far larger than any other client I had before.
Yeah, maybe you
One
can
of
give
them,
an idea about the size of those clients. Like one of them is the company in Germany, I guess you're talking about, and then there might be another one. So we get an idea of the size of the company and what you were doing there. Also, would be interesting. Yeah.
one of them was a marketing agency, but with very exciting projects. Some of them really big, like a solar company we worked on in Germany, where we literally achieved, I think a 10x growth within just a few years, being the lead marketing agency there. And obviously, it's not all due to me. Would never claim that, but I definitely had a part in this success, and got some really interesting insights as well.
Yeah, would be
And the other
interesting also, like what did that mean there? 10x growth, like where was this company before you onboarded? And then what was the 10x? I mean, I know the numbers, but for the listeners, that would be also a good perspective.
Yeah, I think back then they were at around 18 million annual revenue. And then after, I believe, 2 years, they reached a 250 million or even more. And obviously back then the market was slightly different, and the external circumstances were favorable. So there were fast rising electricity prices, for example. There were pretty low interest rates, so it was easy to finance solar. And then I believe also, a few years later, or a few years into the project, Russia invaded into Ukraine, which also I think that's when the demand for solar peaked in Germany, actually.
Yeah.
But in general, very favorable conditions. It was relatively easy to grow a solar company back then. But obviously, the marketing that we did was also state of the art. It's definitely one of the huge factors that led this company to grow so fast. And the other company, large comparison platform for money transfers. Also an excellent client. I've worked with for about 5 years now. Has been great. But those were the 2 big clients that I acquired through cold outreach on LinkedIn.
So how did that go to actually onboard those? Like from cold outreach, was that super quick or a lot of effort? And how did you go about it? Maybe there is also a lesson to learn for somebody who would like to improve their LinkedIn outreach.
Yeah. So actually getting started was fairly easy. We started on sample size project, I would say. So basically, it wasn't that big of a deal at first, right? I basically came in just to do a few hours of consulting every month, maybe a few hours of copywriting as well. But then quickly they realized that they really appreciate the work that I do. It has a leverage, so they were definitely very interested in increasing the amount of time I can dedicate to these projects, which also means obviously making sure that I'm as interested as possible, which you typically achieve by paying more money. And the way I acquired these on LinkedIn, that's been actually we could record a whole episode in itself for that, because I think I was quite clever, to be honest. Two different methods. Method one, the comparison platform that I acquired back then as a client, I literally looked at all well-funded startups within the country. I tried to find a list, and that was back before ChatGPT, so it wasn't really easy to generate lists and generate data. I literally had to do that all manually. So I went through yellow pages, but also went through newspapers and checked, okay, which of these companies have actually closed their funding rounds. And then I built a list of, I believe it was 150 or so companies, and I literally went ahead and researched at these 3 key stakeholders of each of these companies. And then I went ahead and cold messaged them on LinkedIn. All 3 of these at the same time. I literally said, hey, here I am. Look, I know there's a problem on your website, which I then obviously had to research at first. But typically, problems are relatively easy to find, or at least some potential for growth, right? So like some company, they might have had not ideal keyword combinations on their blog or something. That could be a reason to approach them and then say, hey, look, I see a leverage here, room for improvement. Let's work together. And I did that for all of these 150 companies.
How many answers did you get?
Key stakeholders. Yeah, I think I've gotten a few answers, quite a few. Out of those 150 companies, maybe I would have to guess. It's also many years ago, but maybe 40 replied, I would say, 30 or 40. So 30 would be 20%. I would say 20 to 30% of these companies replied, but often just one of these stakeholders, right? So out of maybe 450 contacts I reached out to, that means I've gotten, like 30 or so responses. But that was good enough, right? So that was literally three or 4 afternoons of work, reaching out to all of these companies, maybe a little more, but it was definitely worthwhile looking back to it. So if anyone's involved in cold outreach, I believe there's one thing that's key, and that's persistence. Just try to be as persistent as possible. Don't stop until you finish successfully.
Right.
I think that was definitely the mantra I followed there. And once I had the first talks with people, I quickly realized which of these could be good clients and which I would rather not want to work with, right? And then I started working with that company. The second client I acquired through, basically through different method. I identified a few, one could say, influencers, LinkedIn influencers, people that really have something to say, people that are famous, and then looked like, what are the marketing agencies or other businesses where I saw potential that they were connected with, right? Found a few, made a list again, and I went ahead and started commenting under each of their posts, or not all of the posts, but just identified a few really interesting LinkedIn posts where I thought I could add an interesting perspective to it with a comment, and then just left a bunch of comments, essentially, a bunch of really valuable comments. And what I actually created there is that is an effect where a lot of people, or like a lot of these key stakeholders of the companies I wanted to get in touch with, they saw these comments and they thought, hey, wow, that's an interesting perspective. And then they got in touch with me. That was even more time intensive, right? But I believe it was truly worth it as well, because it also strengthened my personal brand, because a lot of people saw these comments as well, right? And a lot of people must have thought, hey, that's an interesting guy. So I had I created a lot of connection requests back then as well, extended my network, had a lot of chats as well that didn't lead to collaborations, but I was able to extend my network, and that was the main thing here. And obviously this one big client came out of it as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to get the perspective also, like that, those 2 clients, they helped you to like basically build a very stable career. Could you say that? And
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a very stable career. And I've been working with these clients for, it's been almost 6 years now, right? We're nearing the end of 2025. Oh, no, not really. We're in the middle. But let's say 5.5 years I've worked with them, or 5 years.
Yep.
And in total, don't even want to sum it up, but they've definitely paid me 6 figures, pretty constant every year. So
Yeah.
that's been a huge assurance as well for me personally, because obviously provide a financial security. But that's
And then that's awesome. So also congratulations to that. And then also there's maybe two things I'd like to dig into briefly. Like one thing I know from you is that you also treat your money well that you're making. So you're investing your money in a smart way, I believe. At least you're successfully growing your money. So maybe you want to say something about that briefly as well, because technically, if you wanted, you almost could stop working, right?
Yeah, I think I could. Depends on the country I decided to move to, right? If I decided to move back to Germany, for example, I think it could be a little difficult. But in a country with a lower cost of living, yeah, for sure, I could invest like my savings and my capital into maybe even into savings accounts and live off that. Live off whatever the interest provides. But
Which is awesome. I want to point that out because that is not the case for a lot of people. I know also a lot of people that make 6 figures and then they also spend 6 figures.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one thing that contributes to that is that I hate spending money. Honestly, it's something something personal in me. I just don't enjoy it. It's
I noticed that
every time something goes out, it just doesn't feel good. I can't even explain it. I don't know why that is. Maybe because I struggled so hard back in New Zealand, working on these farms and moving furniture just to get by. Definitely know like how much effort it can take to earn $1 or €1. So maybe that contributes to the fact that I spend my money really wisely.
Yeah, I really admire that also about you. So, and we see that the same way. I think that's a good way to look at it and maybe also develop life in that regard.
In regards to investments, maybe that's also something we should cover really quick. So basically, I believe in index funds. I've not. It took some time until I actually started investing into index funds. Back then, I believe in 2022, I first looked into stocks, looked into potential which potential there was, tried to invest my money, and then basically, decided to go, I believe, 75% stocks, which I picked, and only 25% into index funds. Turned out that these index funds I invested back then into, they developed much better than these stocks that I picked, and learning from that. Don't try to beat the market. Try to keep it as simple as possible. And index funds, I believe, they're probably the best vehicle to participate from long-term economic growth, and therefore they should be the first thing on someone's list if they decided to try to build a fortune, or at least enough capital to retire from at some point.
Great. Thanks for sharing that learning also. And let's make a little shift. And I'd also be curious, maybe you want to hop on the topic a little bit, like how we got to know each other, because that I believe is also quite unusual, a story. And then also how we came up with the idea of doing business together.
Yeah, great story, actually. So basically, my girlfriend is from Panama, so always spent quite a lot of time in Panama. And at one time I decided to visit the region of Bocas del Toro. That's a region in I believe it's the west of the country, northwest of the country, an archipelago, beautiful Caribbean islands. a really great place to be. And when I was there, I was literally trying to look for like-minded people, anyone I could connect with, right? Because that's something I really enjoy doing whenever I go to a new place. Try to pick out a few entrepreneurs or freelancers or like any kinds of people I could learn something from and try to meet them.
I think we got
and essentially-
connected on Facebook somehow through somebody. I don't remember who that was.
I
and
don't
how
think
that went,
anyone
but-
connected us, Robert. I believe I went through that methodology. I think we were part of a mutual Facebook group or something.
Yeah. That's
if I
right.
remember
Yeah, I remember
correctly.
that. Yep. That's how it went. Yep.
And I think I asked something like, "Hey, is someone in Panama right now, in this region, ready to meet for coffee or something?" And then you said, "Hey, I'm here. Let's connect."
Yep.
And you invited me over, me and my girlfriend, and we had a chat. Interesting discussions, was great. And I think we met a few times after that as well. Became good friends, I would say.
Yep.
And then, there was one point where I had an apartment rented in Panama City in one of these skyscrapers.
Yeah, we were skyscraper neighbors there.
And we were, right? You were living in
Yep, 10
in one
minutes.
of the towers next to mine, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think you came over, right? And we share one passion. We like fine tobacco, so we like to smoke a cigar once in a while.
Right.
And we were catching up to smoke a cigar. And I believe
Yeah,
it
that
a
was on
good
your
one,
balcony,
actually.
right? Yep.
Yeah, my balcony, a great view in front of us, right? Looking at the city lights at night. Always very inspiring. So we were smoking this cigar, and I told you about the solar company, I believe, and the
Yep.
potential I saw in that. And I think it was your idea that this could potentially be repeated, like these steps we took to grow that company, but ideally with leverage, right? With equity involved. Sorry, with equity involved, because that was one thing I sadly didn't have. Right, working on this huge client, I didn't have a foot in the door. I couldn't participate in the success that we generated there. Right, I had a nice retainer, obviously, but it's minor compared to the growth that we created in this company. So the idea was born to find a partner in the United States that's involved in solar, right, and help them grow their company to another level, but with a share, right? A share in that company. And I think what we did was we tried to divide the work, right? You said, you decided to call a bunch of companies on the phone.
Yeah, right. I was cold calling. Yeah.
Yeah, you were cold calling them, and I decided I'm going to use my LinkedIn and leverage my LinkedIn to reach out to a few people. And we got in touch with really dubious people, to be honest. That's one thing. Honestly,
Right.
like these stories that came out of that, it's hilarious. Like it's definitely something we could even dedicate another episode to and talk about that.
It was
It's ridiculous.
adventurous and hard also to execute that until we found something. Yeah.
Yeah, doing cold outreach, really, you got to handle a lot of, you have to be comfortable with getting a lot of no's, and also being, just it's an uncomfortable feeling, right? You just got to deal with it. It's a thing you do in order to get a result. No one is enjoying it, I believe, but some things, they just have to be done. And then we got in touch with a few partners. I believe you acquired one successfully on the phone that we started working with, and I think I got in touch with Phil from Avail Solar. Back then they were a different company on LinkedIn, and we started first talks, started negotiating these deals, and long story short, we decided to co-found a solar company with Phil in the state of Utah. Someone that we've never met in real life. So that's also quite interesting, I believe. And it's been successful. So that company that grew to several $1 million in annual revenue within just a few years. I believe on 2025, we're
2 years
track to
from
reaching
zero.
10 million. And it's quite impressive if you think about it. especially because that's a regional company, right? Within a small market. I believe the state of Utah. How many people live in Utah? I believe something like 3 million or so, or 3.5 million. So that's like, insignificant compared to the population in Germany, for example. But yeah, we've made it work there, and we've overcome several challenges, and it's been a great journey ever since.
Yeah, I would say so as well. And also, they're really great partners. So I think we're super lucky. And looking into the future, even if things are changing in the landscape there politically, and it's a bit turbulent right now, but I think great partnerships, they always find ways to, reinvent and continue to work and grow. So, and I think we really have that. We can be, uh, we can feel lucky about that.
And also on a personal level, like really nice guys, right?
Yep.
Really enjoy working with them. And I think that's one of the key things I look out for in business partners and clients. I really have to make sure that the person I'm dealing with is someone I would also go and drink a coffee with or a beer privately, right? It's really that needs to be the case. I can't work with people. I can't spend time working, a lot of time typically working with people that I don't really like. Like that's affecting the quality of my work, but also affecting me personally. It just it's not good, not a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah, and then maybe before we close this episode of the podcast, if you want to add a little bit about what we're doing also, because now I have the comfort, I can just ask you, and maybe there's something you want to share about Pragmatic Business that we do also, and then maybe I can drop also links for whoever is interested in growing his freelance career to a company, or grow his company and find partners to talk to and figure out if there's something there, you want to lose a couple words about that?
Yeah, I believe we both agree that what we've done there in Utah was pretty successfully. That's quite a fun ride as well. And then you and I basically came to the conclusion that we would like to replicate this, right? That we see potential in trying to do this again, apply these methods that we've applied there to other businesses and help them grow. And essentially what came out of this is this consulting agency called Pragmatic Business that you and I founded together. This time not focused on solar, because let's be honest, we came also to the conclusion that solar might not be that good of a business, right? Because that's something where you earn revenue once, and there's no recurring component in it. So it's not really ideal. Really depends on the sales volume also. And additionally, also depends on a lot of subsidies, but that's a different topic. So Pragmatic Business is basically combining these growth methods that we applied in Utah with your knowledge of helping self-employed people, self-employed professionals grow to the next level in their career. I think that's a good way to simplify that. So what we do is we work with all kinds of professionals, marketing professionals, designers, but also smaller agencies, and we help them reach their financial goals. Typically, very ambitious people that want to reach the next level, whatever that might be. And for self-employed professionals, that could be, for example, trying to build systems that would then, basically have them work on the business rather than in the business, right? So actually building a business that's not there yet. And we've done this successfully with another partner of ours. And we're on track to doing that again and again.
Right. Yeah. I'm super excited also. We've doubled another business within a year, and we're doubling it again right now. And I'm excited as well. So Jan, if there's one thing, last question to you, that let's say you could give one advice only to our audience, who are all freelancers, entrepreneurs, also investors, growing their career in some way or the other, and growing their freedom as well. The number one thing that you maybe believe has changed your own trajectory the most towards freedom, what would be that one advice that you could share?
Really difficult to give one advice here. I believe it's two key things that really made me reach the point I reached in my life. And basically, point number one, take risks, right? Take risks really early on. And I know a lot of people are saying that all the time, but if you look at the career path, or like career path, let's say it like that, I took, essentially, I took the biggest risk there is for some people, like the biggest risk they could imagine. I didn't even finish school, right? I left for a gap year with really basic English, by the way, traveling to the country that's furthest away from my location, without any skill, without any savings. So like it was a huge risk looking back. But I believe it was necessary to develop my personality to, yeah, towards or to the point that it has reached now. And like realistically speaking, if you're below 40, right? You have a bit of savings, you might have a skill or two you could monetize, then go ahead, make that first step, build your business, get started, take risks. Like it's not that complicated. It's not that much of a risk if you compare that to the risk that I took personally so early within my career, like before my career hasn't even started. That's number one. And the second tip I would like to give is be as persistent as possible. Don't finish until you complete and decide on one single thing you're going to do, and then just do it. Right? If I would have stopped cold outreaching after I reached out to the person number 300 on my list, then my life would have possibly been much different, right? It would have not been as successful as it has been. So try to be as persistent as possible. Persistent really is key.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Jan, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being a guest at the podcast. Really also appreciating you as a business partner. And I'm excited looking into the future together with you. And I'm excited also for any comments about this podcast episode. So feel free to reach out also to Jan. We're gonna definitely put your links down there also for social media, etc. Thanks very much, and see you at the next episode.
Yeah, likewise. Bye-bye. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks a lot, Robert, for having me here as well. It's been a pleasure, and wish you all the best with your podcast.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Go to rockandrollyourdreams.com/podcast.